Hey everybody, good afternoon. I'm here on the 14th of October 2021, and it's about 2 p.m. Eastern time. Cash sessions got about 2 hours left, and I thought that it'd be a good time to do a little bit of altcoin analysis. I was talking to some of the members on the Discord yesterday, asking for things that they want me to take a look at. So I'm going to do my best to take a look at all of these. I'm not going to spend all the time doing an Elliott wave analysis on them, but I'm going to be taking a look at, of course, how our indicator looks, and where I think some good support and resistance levels will be before I get into any of this. Of course, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your risk, doing your own research, and this is always just my opinion on the market. So let's go ahead and move on into the chart, and let's get started. The first one that we're going to be taking a look at today is SOL. So let's see here. We're going to be taking a look at SOL. And basically what I'm looking at here, I'm looking on an hourly chart, which is where I usually start. Looking at an indicator, I'm going to be taking a look at the daily, or really the 12-hour, because this is now crypto. If you're using the indicator and you're in the stock market, you know that the red wave is the daily. But in this case, since this is a 24/7 market, the red wave is actually the 12-hour. So you've got the 12-hour, the 3-hour, and the 1-hour back here. You can see we had a bullish cross down here at the bottom. That was a really great place to be making a purchase from where it sold off, which was right up here. So you can see, this candle up here was a red cross. So that's a bearish sign, and it went all the way down here to where it had a green cross, which is a bullish sign. And of course, we've gone up a little bit since then. Nice thrust, do the pullback, and then continue moving. Speaking of the pullback, let's just go ahead and take a look at this and see what we've got from a pullback, because that almost looks like a 50 or a 618. So that is a 618 pullback, which means the target for SOL is going to be sitting up here at about $160. Okay, and let's just zoom out just a little bit here. So obviously we've got, from all the way back here in September, let's do another little fib pull here from this dominant pivot high up here to this dominant pivot low right here, right? So this is our pullback, and there's the 618 right there. I've got the 50 and the 618 here on these fib pulls. So we had that touch here at the 618. So you've got two targets to really pay attention to. The first one is down here at about $92. So if we crash, it's going to go down to about $92. I would say, at least in the short term, it's going to find its way up here to about 160. What happens from there? That's that's really up in the air. What's going to happen from there? Right now, we've got already sitting at at support level. Here was a support level. Then it became resistance here, and now it is currently sitting and trying to reclaim as support. So this little pullback here on the 21 exponential moving average. That's our yellow moving average here. It looks like it's done a reversion to the mean, and now we should be kind of moving up from here, although the hourly shows that we may be just kind of chopping for a little bit. So that's just my my analysis there on SOL. Let's go ahead and move on to DOT. This one has gone on a little bit of a run here, right? So overnight we had a big run, and naturally we're seeing a little bit of a pullback. Something that I'll note here, like one, we're under the 21 exponential. You have to recognize that we may go all the way down here to the 55 exponential. But fact of the matter is, the hourly has almost completely reset. Now the 3-hour, yes. 3-hour is showing bearish signs. It looks like it's crossing down. So you need to be careful with that. Of course, we had the 12-hour that crossed back here. 4 hours later, we had a big move up. Okay? I do want to point out when that happens. Now, of course, we haven't seen goodbyes on DOT since all the way back here, and even this one was a good buy. It wasn't something I would take a lot of action on. This one's the best one because you had the 1-hour, the 3-hour, and the 12-hour all in oversold at the exact same time, and it was pretty much down here at the bottom, right? So down here at about 26.50, and now we're at 39.88. That's a significant move to the upside. Even though we had a little bit of a pullback, it continued, right? So I think all in all, this looks okay. Let me just go ahead and move to a higher time frame for a moment on the 4-hour. So you can see where I've circled this all the way back here. Big pullback, right? And now it's continuing to move on up. What I'll say based on this, right from there, we get this pullback to the 50, and we hit our target at about 41. So if you're looking for new buys, I would say DOT is probably not it. If you weren't able to capture this move, it was a 21% move. If you didn't capture this and you're looking to buy DOT, you're chasing green, and I always advise against that. On the 4 hour, we were below the 55 exponential. We broke up and then did a good retest. And then we had this cross that I was talking about on the 12 hour, and we had a big move up, a 21% move. Is it going to keep going? We're up in the air on whether that's going to happen. Just based on what I can see here, yes, the 1 hour has reset. So naturally, I think we probably are going to get a little bit of a pullback. This level right here, just pointing this out because this was a shelf. It was holding the price up. We pushed up, and got above that price, which is about $41, right? We stayed above that for a while, and then we broke down. So I believe we're probably going to get a little bit more of a push down. We're going to get a bearish retest here of 41. And unless it overtakes that, I would say that I'm probably going to be short-term bearish on DOT. Now, if we get to a point where the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and especially the 12 hour, if they're all oversold, yeah, then we can talk a little bit more about it. But from right here, I would say it's not a good buy, right? If anything, I would be taking that 21% move, shaving some profit off the table. All right, let's take a look at AVAX. All right, this one's not bad, We had a buy down here, right? You can see the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the 12 hour all oversold at the exact same time. We started getting some bullish crosses here. The 3 hour crossed, actually very interestingly, 3 hour crossed on this red candle here, the one that actually made the low. Then we had a bullish cross on our hourly on this candle, and we've been kind of moving up. We see that we had the bullish cross on the 12 hour back here, basically at the same price that we're currently at right now. We do have the 21 over the 55 now, and you have some convergence on the 21 and the 100. So we've got, again, 21, 55, 100, 200, all exponential. I sometimes do take a look at simple moving averages, but in this case, I do like to prefer the exponential moving averages. Very similar to DOT. We do see signs that the hourly is resetting, which is good. As long as we can stay above this 55, it'd be great to get a buy right at the 55. Currently, it's $55.83 on the 55 exponential. If we can get a good retest of that, I would say that's probably a good place to be taking on some risk. What I want to point out is this price here at about $55.70. All right, so just a couple things that I want to point out. One is the support we had here. 2 is the support we had here. 3 is the resistance that we had here. 4 is the support we had here. There is a lot of, price defense in both directions here, right there at about 55.70, right? And I guess if I look left, let's see what else we have. Same thing here, support. What do we have here? Resistance. And I could go left, look at this, resistance. There is significant signs that 55.70 is important, right? If we break down below that on an hourly basis, then I would say we're probably going to push down. But the 12 hour looks okay. 12 hour looks great. I would be looking for maybe a longer term trade on this because, again, we could see a pullback, right? We could see a pullback down here to the 50, which is a 55.89. We could even see a pullback down here to 55.10 to 55.27. That would still be okay as long as we get back above that 55 in short order. Honestly, there's probably a decent trade to be taken here where that can manage your risk appropriately, right? If we're talking about getting something down here at 55.70, right? So let's just talk about this. Setting your stop loss, somewhere right here, you're only talking about 1.5%. And in crypto, that is significant, right? Compared to like taking a 20 or 25% stop loss. You're really not talking about taking on a whole lot of risk. You could even honestly give yourself a little bit more. Go right here on the other side of this pivot, then you're still only talking about 4.5%. It's not bad. Now your upside target, obviously we had a big correction here, so you'd be looking to correct this entire correction, right? And maybe it goes further, but I would take a look at potentially taking a trade, something like this. And again, this might get stopped out. Let me fix that. This might get stopped out, but that's the way trades work sometimes. I'd be looking to take this up here to at least a 50. So you're talking about a 4.45% stop loss for a potential 17 0.57% gain. That's 3.94 to 1 risk to reward. That's not bad. I know a lot of people that are happy with a 1 to 1. I don't particularly like that. I like to go at least 2 to 1 because I like my reward to be greater than my risk. But this is not a bad trade. I'm going to post this in the Discord. This is going to be again on AVAX USDT. That's what I see on AVAX for right now. Let's go ahead and keep on going. Terra Luna. Sorry, I see the comment here. I'm not familiar with Terra Luna. Let me just take a look here on KuCoin. Let me take a look. Luna USDT. There it is. All right, let's just take a look here. I'll take a look at it really quick. Right now, again, very similar. The 12-hour looks great. The 12-hour looks fine. Of course, we had that big move up already, so be expecting a bit of a pullback. But nonetheless, let that 1 hour reset. And again, yeah, this looks like good confluence down here at about 36.50 to 36.70, somewhere in this range. And let me look left. So we have some support right there. We had some resistance right here. We had resistance here. We had support here. And we, of course, had some resistance here. I would look for a bullish throwback to this particular area right here at about 36.63. So again, 36.63 is support for now until it's not. 36.63 is support for now until it's not. I'm going to put that right there, so maybe we can go back to it later on. All in all, the 21 is above the 55 now, so you do have a little bit of bullish formation on some of the shorter term moving averages. It would ideally get that 21 above the 100, and then of course get that 55 up there. But we do have the 21 in an upward slant. We also have the 55 in an upward slant, so a bullish pose on those. You saw the 100 tried to, and now it's just flat. And the 200 is starting to just kind of flatten itself out. Naturally, you had some resistance there at that 200 exponential moving average, and now we're seeing some of these indicators start to reset a little bit. Especially if you can get the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the 12 hour all in oversold at the same time, that'd be a great place to be looking for a trade. For right now, the good trades were right here. You can see the 1 hour, 3 hour, and 12 hour all oversold at the same time. Same thing right here. These were both great places to buy, but you have to be careful because, you know, it's already gone up 6.38% from there on current prices, but in actuality, it went high as almost 11.5%. So I'd wait for that pullback and then be able to take that trade to go higher. I'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance here in just a moment. I'm going to take a look at Cardano. I love Cardano a lot. I actually think Cardano is probably going to make its way up to about $5, but I think that it's very, very possible, and this is all based on prior analysis, I do think it can probably find its way back down to about $1.80 first, right? No, it's not something that a lot of people like to hear, but if you take a look at this white wave, which is the weekly, I don't talk about that very often, but the weekly does look like it's got signs that it's coming down, okay? The weekly is coming down. You've got the 3 hour crossing down, but this is also the same formation that's on a lot of other alts right now. The difference is the hourly hasn't reset. Like we talked about on DOT, the hourly is reset. The hourly isn't reset on this guy right now. But on this one, you do have the 21 above the 55 and above the 100, right? So that 55 is getting up there. I would say as long as the 100 holds, it's probably a good hold. But if it breaks down below these, then my downside target is going to be down here at about $1.80. About $1.80. That's going to be your 50% pullback on the larger move from $1, right? When we had this capitulation down here, you know, we finished this move. We had a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, a quick 4, and then we go into the 5 up here at $3. Correction. And then we're working on a more complex correction, in my opinion, right? So we have this little A, B, C, and then A, B, and again, probably maybe a little bit more up, but not a lot. But then I do think we do get that flush at some point down to about $1.80. I'd be a big buyer at $1.80. Currently, I don't hold much Cardano. All right, let's keep on going. FTM. Let's see what we got here. This one is flagging at all-time highs. I assume that's all-time highs. Let's see here. Going all the way back there. Yeah. Yeah, so this actually looks okay. A big impulsive move up. 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. I think that this has some really great potential. Let me go to an hourly here and just kind of take a look at this again. Now that we've come to the conclusion this is flagging at all-time highs. You of course saw a move back to the 200 exponential, and it has held that support. Let's see here. Let's see what our risk would look like if we did happen to take a trade on this guy. Right here, taking it down to the 200 exponential. That's 4%. Even if you go all the way down here to the pivot low, which should hold 4.8%, that's not terrible. And you may ask, okay, well, where would I look at for an exit on this? I've got a real simple solution for this. Take that pivot high, take what our potential pivot low is right here, and look for the 1.272. That's going to be up there. It's a 25% trade at about 258, getting out at about 258. So even if you wanted to get in now at 206, I'd be looking to get out at 258. Cut your losses, on the other side of $2. You'll be able to manage your risk, which is so important. I'm gonna highlight it here. Manage your risk, please, because that is how you survive. You have to manage your risk. I know sometimes there are some things that are out of your control. Sometimes exchanges will do things on your behalf that is not beneficial for you, but at the end of the day, you have to manage your risk. Otherwise, you are not going to survive. You have to be able to know when you're wrong. And in this case, this trade is wrong if it hits down below these lows, right? I'm not telling you to take these trades. I'm just telling you these are just ideas that I am kind of coming up with. So do that and manage your risk. Just be careful. Okay, let's keep on going. So we've talked about FTM. The next item on my list is AXS. There we go. That had a big move. Okay. So, because of that, I would say this is a no. I would not take this trade because of the fact that it has already made a pretty significant move. So this was suggested to take a look at yesterday at about 4 p.m. So let's just take a look here. That was the 13th. So that was all the way back here. 13th at 1600 hours. So since it was brought up, it has gone up a whopping 17.93%. So I'm going to pass on this one just due to the fact that it has already moved up so much. And I would say it's probably just going to consolidate here. If it does consolidate there, it's got to make it back up above this price. If it doesn't make it back up above that, then we have problems. It's probably sitting at... It's on the other side of the 618. So really there's signs of strength here. There's some signs of strength, so it's probably going to find its way making higher prices. I'm just saying that as a trader, I wouldn't buy here. I would have bought back here. So apologies for that, for who asked about that on the Discord. I would say that this is probably not a good buy right now, but it was, I don't know, somewhat of a decent buy back then. There was no clear indication that would have been a good buy. Really, I don't see anything that's clean to buy here. Obviously, it did go up. I just don't see anything, the way I trade, to find anything clean for an entry on that. Gala. All right, let's take a look here. Hey, good afternoon, Todd. Good to see you on here. Again, the 1 hour, 3 hour, and the 12 hour, all oversold back here, back at about 1 a.m. A couple days ago. This would have been the best place to be layering some buys. Obviously, we had the cross on the 12 hour right here when the price was at about 8.7 cents. We're currently 9.2 cents. Had to push up. Did that pull back? I talk about that pullback all the time. It did go kind of deep though. I'm not a real big fan of how deep that went. You can see here it went further than the 618. It probably went closer to the 786. So for that reason, this is probably corrective. Let's just go ahead and take a look at this. So we have a little ABC up. So you see ABC up, and then we have a pullback here. We hit our corrective target at the 123.6. So in my opinion, this has got to get above that 9.6 cent mark. If you can't get above 9.6 cents, it's probably going to probably make lower prices. This doesn't really look like a leading diagonal or anything like that that would indicate that we've got something extremely bullish going on. The fact of the matter is it did hit the 123.6 extension target, which is corrective. So all in all, this doesn't look great. You can definitely see right here, support, resistance, resistance, support, support all through here. A little bit of support, broke and immediately back tested and had resistance, then fell hard, and then we're doing a bearish back throw, or sorry, a bearish throwback rather. And we had some resistance right there. So, you know, we're talking about 9.6 to 9.7 cents. We've got significant resistance there, so I would just be careful with Gala if you are not currently in it from a long time ago, because obviously it had a big move up. It did that pullback, you know, back down here at about 4 cents. Long term, this is probably going to be fine. But I know a lot of people hate long term, and I'm not really sure why. I'm a big fan of long term myself. You know, that's how I was able to profit on SHIB. That's how I was able to profit on Doge. You just get into something that's been flatlining for a while, and then you get in. So this right here is not a flat line for me. I see that there is some support right here at 7.7 cents. That's the high here from opening day. And then that's the low here. And then we kind of did another bit of a pullback. We made a higher low, though. And then we're seeing a little bit of a push up. So again, if it can get above 9.6 cents, well, absolutely. I think it's probably going to go significantly higher. But for right now, short term, I don't see a good trade. I don't see a good trade here unless you can get a pullback. Because your risk is going to be so wide at this point. Because if you were to take a trade here, you'd be looking at a 13% loss. It's not something I'm willing to put on the table. All right, I'm going to be moving on. We talked about Luna. Let's take a look at Ripple. Ripple. Good old Ripple. What do you look like? I actually haven't looked at Ripple in a long, long time. Ripple does not look great. No, Ripple actually looks really pretty terrible right now. Let's take a look here. Fib retrace, dominant pivot high, dominant pivot low. We had rejection here at the 50, which means it's going to go back to $1. That's what I can see here. Yeah, moving averages look okay, but all in all, it doesn't look great. You know, what this looks like to me from up here, looks like an ABC. Let me change the degree on this. I'm going to change the color. I'm not a big fan of red. Nice little ABC there. And then you can see we've got a nice little A, B, C right here, right? And then what we're in the middle of is a larger A, B, and then going down to $1 for the C, and really that should really be a WXY. But all in all, you understand the point that I'm trying to make, that it looks like we are going to see a little bit more of a correction to the downside. Let me check one more thing here. Dominant pivot high, dominant pivot low. Let's get our throwback. What's the 100 at? Look at that. It's at $1 exactly. So, my opinion, Ripple's going to go back to $1. That's where I would be interested in buying. I think when it does get there, you're going to see that the 3-hour has reset. The 1 hour will have bounced around, but probably will be reset. The 12-hour is going to reset, and the weekly is probably just going to be sitting here in the neutral zone still. So we'll kind of take it a day at a time. But Ripple, I would say $1. I'd be setting an alert on Ripple for $1. I'm actually going to do that. Add an alert for Ripple at $1. Once it gets there, I'd be interested in buying. But for right now, the answer is no. That's what I've got on Ripple. HBAR. Let's take a look at this guy. Oh man, again, another big move up. The 12-hour has already taken off. The weekly is still crossed down. The 3-hour is curling down. The 1 hour is curling down. This is also, again, after a big move to the upside. Let me zoom out and see where we're at here. Let's just go ahead and take a look. Dominant pivot high, dominant pivot low. Right there. Very likely this does find its way up here to 43 to 46 cents, but I wouldn't bet a whole lot of money on that. It's probably just going to do something like this, and then it's just going to correct, and then we go down for lower buys. And maybe, again, I'm just kind of freehand drawing this. This is not based on anything significant, but we're currently at 38 cents, and if I get out of this into, it doesn't really matter if you're looking at it in logarithmic or arithmetic. You still got targets down here to the downside for where we could probably go. And I'm not saying that we're going to go down to 22 cents, But let's say we do find ourselves all the way up at about 46 cents, right? You're still looking at 22 to 23 cents. So if Bitcoin does decide to take over on dominance, I can definitely see some bleeding action on a lot of these altcoins, especially ones that aren't super popular. I wouldn't consider Hydra Hashgraph a super popular altcoin, so just kind of keeping that in mind. DYDX, let's take a look at that. Luna looks good for the long run. Bitcoin will pull back soon. I do agree with that. Is it worth waiting for Bitcoin pullback? I would say yes. That is just my opinion. Probably not popular with many people, but my opinion is that for low cap alts, I would wait for Bitcoin to make that larger move. It's safer, in my opinion, to probably be in Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe even Cardano, even though I mentioned earlier that I don't have a whole lot of Cardano right now. It's probably safer to be in the high cap coins versus the low cap coins, just because money will flow out of those and into Bitcoin, which is going to actually fuel Bitcoin making a bigger move. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. I'll talk about lumens going bananas this fourth quarter into first quarter here in just a moment, but let me just finish here on DYDX. Again, this looks very similar to, I think it was FTM. I don't remember which one it was now. You know, big move up at the open, had that pullback, and now it's just kind of moving up. Not with a lot of conviction, I have to admit. This does look like from here a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, but let's just measure it to see if it makes logical sense. So we've got the 1, we've got the 2. We haven't really made a wave 3 yet, right? And we've just been kind of moving sideways here. This looks like a wave 4. What we are currently in the middle of right now, what we've been dealing with throughout this entire duration, this looks like a wave 4 to me. So I've measured all of this, and my upside target for this is only about $30, right? We're at 22.68 or so. My upside target is about $30, and it could blow that away. It could blow that away. But again, a lot of people are in it for the short term, not in it for the long term, and so that's why I'm saying if you're going to take a trade here at 22, I'd be looking to get out at 30. That's not a terrible trade, right? To get in at 22 and get out at $30, you're still talking about a 36% trade. That's not bad. All right, let's keep on going. KAI USDT. I am not familiar. Cardia chain. I've never heard of this before. This is all completely new for me. I would say it actually doesn't look bad. It really doesn't look bad. How much history does this guy have? Quite a bit. Quite a bit. Yeah, no, this really doesn't look bad. Obviously, there's some support here that you have to pay attention to. Right, you can see we have a resistance here, it was support here, came back to support again. We pushed through initially, rejected. We had a nice cup action. I'm not a real big fan of cup and handle or anything like that, but obviously there was some curling here. And then a big move up once it broke, came back, did the bullish retest, and then it did a bounce. So now, you know, is this double bottom? You know, a lot of people like to call them that. I like the fact that the weekly is getting into oversold territory. Would I buy right now, just based on the indicators? I would say probably not. It looks a little messy, not super clean. I would say it's probably going to get a pullback, maybe back down here to about 4 cents, right? It's almost at 5 cents right now, so you're talking like a 20% drawdown, right? Let's just measure it. How much of a drawdown is it down to 4 cents? Yeah, 16.94%. So not a real good risk to reward on this at the moment, but if you go back to the daily, this really doesn't look all that bad. This doesn't look all that bad. From this low here to this high here, and we get this pullback, you know, you're talking about a move potentially up to 52 cents. Now, that's a big deal. Would you be willing to risk 20% of your position for the potential to make 1,000%? That's up to you. In my opinion, 972% is a hope and a dream. 20% is reality, right? Because if you're going to put in $1,000, you're talking about losing $200. Now, of course, the reward on that is going to be significant if it does make it to 52 cents. But in all honesty, the probability is you're going to get stopped out before it actually hits that. Because a lot of people, you know, you get caught up in this chop and you just sell, right? Which is why I'm saying you should wait for a little bit more of a pullback anyway. But that upside target's sitting there at 52 cents. I'm going to leave this here, and maybe we'll revisit this at some point in the future and see where things go. All right, so we're going to keep on going. I just have a couple more minutes, then I'm going to have to cut this short. Let's see here, and I want to take a look at, let's see here, BTT, and then I'm going to take a look at Tron. All right, so BitTorrent, yeah, you see this one already went up 2,000%. This is on the daily. Let's look at the hourly and kind of see where we're at. Is it worth it to buy the 12-hour? Actually, this doesn't look bad. This doesn't look bad at all, even for a short term. Even though it has already gone up 2,000%, there could be some significant gains here. I would take a trade here at about 3.5 cents. That's where I would be looking to take that trade. Right there, right in the middle of the golden zone, and I'd be looking to manage that risk right there. It's about 4.59%, but I'd be looking to take this up to at least, at least 4.8 cents, which is a 37% return for a 4.5% risk. I can manage a 4.5% loss. I'm not willing to risk 20% of a position. That's just too much for my risk profile. So that's 8.19 to 1. That's not bad. That's good return. That's a good return. And going back to a 4-hour, let's just see if that lines up with anything. Actually looking at this, it may actually want to go up even higher. Because if we take this high to this low here, we've got our target all the way up here, potentially somewhere in this range. So you might actually be able to get 100% on this. Me, I tend to be a little more conservative. I'd be looking to take this smaller trade and then wait for things to kind of show up. But yeah, you may be waiting until the end of the year, but the 12-hour does look pretty good right now on BTT. Let me take a look at XTZ. I am a fan of Tezos. All right, so I'm on the hourly. We do have a bearish cross on the weekly, but it's still in the bullish control zone. We're resetting here on the hourly. Obviously, if you're looking at the waves indicator, the best place to be buying was when the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the 12-hour were all oversold at the same time, which was right here. And it just so happens, what else crossed? The 12-hour crossed when we were all the way down there as well. So this was a great place to be accumulating, and then now we're seeing higher prices. We do have a little bit of a trend line here, which is probably going to create a little bit of a channel. So let's just go ahead and outline the channel. Once it breaks out of the channel, depending on which way it goes, it's going to be what determines the trend in the future. So looking at this right there, we're currently at the median of it. We have all of these moving averages on the hourly. They're all converging on each other right now. So we're going to see some compression. Let me move over here. Again, there's some compression on this. Let me go down to the hourly. We are in a squeeze on the hourly. It really doesn't look that bad. I do think we probably will get a little bit of a pullback, probably down to this area right here at about 695. Right, so about right there, about 695. But yeah, I had been saying for a while that Tezos was probably going to make its way up here to the 2618. And now it's up at about 935. We almost got there. We got up to about 916. That wasn't that long ago. That was, on October 3rd? So all in all, we kind of hit that target. So, you have to be careful. The weekly, again, the weekly has crossed bearish. But the 12-hour looks okay. So we're probably in for a little bit of a relief rally. Maybe up here to about 813. But from there, I would be very, very careful. So let me just mark this out over here. So we have this high right here, which is going to be resistance. So it's about this level here. I'm taking this off of this clustering right here. And if I take this to the right, I've got this clustering here. And you can see we had some resistance here, support here. And then on the downside, we had some resistance here, resistance here. So if we do happen to break up and out of this, I would say we're probably going to do something like this, down, up. Up, down, up, get some rejection here, and then move ourselves down back into the channel where we find some support at the lower, and then potentially from there we go up higher. So that's what I've got on Tezos right now. Let's take a look at Tron. Tron's already staging a pullback. The 12-hour isn't quite there. The 3-hour looks bad. Yeah, I would say Tron right now looks like it is about ready to make a move to the downside. You know, of course, we had a rejection here at the 50. We didn't even make it to the 618. So it probably is going to find itself coming back lower. I'm not saying it's going to go to 8.8 cents, but that's the target. That's the target. So again, we'll wait and see when everything resets. If we're down here at 8.8 cents, then that's going to be a fantastic place to be buying. For right now, it's not a good buy, in my opinion. Let me take a look at SHIB. SHIB is in the middle of making a massive, massive bull flag right now. So let's just talk about this for a minute. So we had this flag, which we broke out of, but now we've got to focus on this guy right here. I think SHIB is actually about ready to make another move to the upside. The moment that this guy breaks out of this trend line up here, because again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 areas of resistance that we've got right here. The moment this finally does break up, it's going to do a bullish retest, and then it's going to launch. It is. Now, that's assuming that it does break out and it doesn't break down, right? Well, you can see that 4 hours ago, 3 hours ago, it broke a lot of the major moving averages. And the wedge that I have painted here is based off of that recent low, right? Really, you know, you don't have a whole lot that you could base this off of. You did right here because you had a point here, and of course you had these 2 points here. I'm on log scale. But what I would like to point out is when we took this trade, right, I was talking about buying SHIB. Let me go all the way back to where I was talking about buying it, because it was all the way back here, right? I was talking about buying SHIB all the way back here. We had a pullback, right? And then we had a spike up. And let's see here, this one right here. This is when we had it was a listing. The listing, I think it was on Coinbase, was right here. I took profit, and then I refueled at about 710 sats. Or really, this isn't sats. This is, I'll call it 710 units of the dollar, right? But the reason why I bought back here was, well, one, because, you know, we saw that, you know, we had the 1 hour and 3 hour that was all kind of down here at the same time. It looked okay. The 12-hour was there. But let me go to the daily and just show you guys what I saw. All right. What I saw was months, and I mean months, of nothing but sideways movement. And I said, you know what? This is something that I have seen before, and I have to take action on this. Because this is the same reason why I took Doge. We got into Doge last year. All right, so we got into Doge back here. We had a little bit of a move up. We had a significant move up, and this is when it was kind of chilling at 5 cents. And of course, now you can see what it has done. It's absolutely insane. We got into it. It must have been at like 17, 18 sats. I was right back here, right? It was right at the end of 2020. We got into Doge, and I'm like, we're going to buy, and we're just going to wait. There was no mention of Doge on Wall Street Bets. There was no mention of Doge on crypto Twitter. Nobody was talking about it. But Doge was one of those things, and I said was. Doge was one of those things where it was just a sleeping giant. And you can see exactly what happened. Now, of course, Robinhood had a lot to do with this. But these are the kinds of things that I love to buy. Things that are just moving sideways and not really doing much of anything here. I'm going to try and pull this out because you can see it just kind of was just moving sideways for, you know, most of 2019 and literally all of 2020. We had a big spike up, and then we started making some new lows, and that's when I was like, we're going to buy this guy and we're just going to hold on to it. And I know a lot of people made a lot of money off of Doge. Even if you were to buy up here where it was basing, right, made a lot of money. But that's how I like to play crypto. I like to find those sleeping giants that are just waiting for the big pump. I'm not a big, like, would I have bought Doge right here? To be completely honest, no, I wouldn't have. Like, obviously I would have missed out on this, but that's not how I trade. I would not have bought right here. but I did buy back here. All right, guys, I need to bounce, so I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream now. I hope this video helped you. If it helped you in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you need access to our Discord, there's a lot of membership details on BitDoctor.org, both free and paid. And yeah, of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, good night, and a good evening. Take care, everyone.